Hello, this is Randy Wooden, and this is the Wooden Desk, and I'm so honored that you're here with me today. Excited about what we are sharing in this area of adding value. Without a doubt, every one of us need value in our life, and yet there are people around us that are needing value also. Something I'd like to start with today as I get into this lecture, and I talk about practical insights to giving value to people. And part of our desire as a leader is to give value where it is needed. I want to say this, and it was a key word that I just wrote down just a moment ago that was in my heart, it talks about balanced value. I believe across the board when we have an organization and we may have we may have a staff, or we may have a leadership team or a board of directors, and on. We have levels of leadership that go all the way down just to the people who serve. In everyday work, whether it's in a ministry setting, it may be somebody who's an usher greeter, or somebody who works in the nursery, or it may be somebody in the marketplace who's doing your marketing. Whatever it may be, they all need to be valued. And I think it's important for us as leaders to have a balance of giving value throughout the whole organization, especially in areas. Now, if you're in a large organization, you need to teach these skills to the people who are your managers, or those who are leaders that are beneath you, and that they are imparting your heart and your level of success to the organization. I find a lot of times that especially if you have a large leadership team and you have staff, and sometimes you may have a heart for something that does not get exampled or get pushed down to other levels, so to speak, as it deals with giving this area value. And value many a times comes through appreciation. I always say that, when we have there's key elements to leadership, and part of that is training leaders, and part of that is getting them in the roles of their giftedness, and all of these things. But sometimes the thing that we miss out on is to take the moments that we can to say, hey, you are valuable. You have really made a difference in this organization. You have made a difference on this team. You would be surprised. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a moment. But I want to start with the practical insight of people skills. And you might this might be a good team if you're sitting with your team right now. There's about 10 of these that I'm going to share. And I'd like you to kind of give yourself a number from 1 to 10, based upon 1 being least to 10, of course, being you're doing great at this area. Is first of all, when people say, or when people are insecure, I give confidence. Am I adding value by giving confidence to the people around me? They need appreciation, so I honor them. They want a brighter future, so I give them hope. Another one is I want to be understood, so I listen well. I've just had a 2 or 3 episodes I've done on listening. But, one of the things I didn't talk about necessarily was communicating, but especially that ability. And part of communicating is being able to have a listening ear when necessary, makes people feel you value them because you took time to listen to them and didn't butt in 10 times in the middle of their conversation so they couldn't finish what they were saying. That's disvaluing them. Another one is they lack direction, so you provide purpose. They get discouraged, so you encourage them. They focus on needs, so I help meet their needs. They want success, so I help them to succeed. They desire relationships, so I offer them community. And then they follow role models, and I set an example. I thought that's kind of a good way to think about people in our organization. Some do struggle with insecurity. Some do need appreciation. Some do need a brighter future, or want to be understood, or are struggling with discouraging, or needing a need met in their life, or just needing relationships or the area of a role model. And I ask the question are we as mature individuals providing that in the area of leadership and organization that we may be leading today? I think Norman Vincent Peale put it this way, and I love it. He said, to be successful, he says, is to be helpful, caring, and constructive, to make everything and everyone you touch a little bit better. The best thing you have to give is yourself. See, when you're giving yourself away to add value to others, you're going to find out the dividends that it pays. First of all, it honors God. And really, again, when it comes down to what we do, it is unto the Lord. Our work is unto God. But also, the most important asset, as I said in our last lesson, was people. And if that is important, then they have got to be at the top of our list continually of saying they're important. So I've got to make a priority of putting time in my schedule just to take that moment. I'm not talking about having a full-fledged meeting. There may be a need for that from time to time, but I'm just talking about, writing that card or stepping into somebody's world where they're operating. And so many times I would step into a room where a teacher was teaching, or I would go into an area where somebody was working or cleaning or painting a wall or something. Just take a moment to see how they were doing, but then take that moment to say how important they are and what they're doing is making a difference, and thanking them. You will be surprised on how important that is. As a person who's had leadership teams, one of my hearts was that the whole team was adding value, of course, by what they did, but they themselves were going out and letting the people that served with them know how important they were. When I think about overall area, it's by it's a sense of looking at the organization and looking for the best in each person and making them into what God has ordained them to be. You'd be surprised how many people that are even within a structure of the organization, or what we call a church family at times, that sometimes seem so insignificant. They're just coming, not really connected, and taking those moments to look at them and value them and speak into their lives of God. I've seen God time after time raise up somebody, and even for some of them put a special calling in their lives. People, ultimately, when we talk about people leadership, it's about equipping them, in those areas to be the stewards they're supposed to be the leaders they're supposed to be. But ultimately, even getting to the place that all of our people and our organization is ministering, and even all of our trained leaders are being resourced to reach out and minister to the unchurched and even to their community. And ultimately, I believe the number one builder of morale is that we are making a difference. People want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. Part of the reason I take the time to do this is not just because you can look at my pretty face. It's because I pray in a practical way, or in a prophetic way, or even in an empowering way. I can say something, say, hey man, that's simple, but I forgot. And I'm finding so many times we've got to keep it simple, because things are already too complicated. And sometimes it's taking time. So we're talking about how do we add that value to others. And I want to start by saying we add value to others when we truly value them. What I mean is truly value. What I mean by that it's very real. I talked a little bit about our motive in our last session, about the importance of the motive of what we say to a person being out of a pure place. But I think it's important. See, I can give you 3 reasons why you should, why you're important to God. First, simply because of who you are. Second, because of what you cost. And then the area is because of what you can become. People are becoming, just like we're becoming, what God is doing in our lives. But essence is people are the only appreciable asset, as we have said. What I realize is that, first of all, we need to believe in them before they believe in us. It's wonderful when people believe in the leader, but it's more wonderful when the leader believes in the person. And a lot of times, the thing about for all of us is trust is something that takes time, in any leadership role, coming into a new place, but at the same time, we have to trust people, but sometimes we have to risk believing in somebody and giving some of the leadership to them. Not only that, but we have to serve them before they serve us. What do you mean? I like what Rabbi Krusner said. He said, the purpose of life is not to win. The purpose of life is to grow and to share. He said, when you come to when you look back on all that you have done in life, you will get more satisfaction and pleasure you brought into other people's lives than you will from the times that you outdid or defeated someone else. Wow. Well stated. Are we serving? Part of adding value is when people see us serving. And I think that's important. We're doing that. You know, the Bible talks about we are co-laborers together with Christ. We're his husbandman or his field, in the essence of the harvest, that we're doing the work together. Not only that, but we draw others to us because we add value to them. See, again, this is not something out of a wrong motive. It's out of a pure place of serving. But what happens is when we start placing value, people start being drawn to us in order for us to be able to do what God's called us to do. You will always move towards anyone who increase you and away from anyone who makes you feel less. I don't know about you, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're not needed or wanted. And there's been times, every one of us have had those moments where we were a part of a team or we were a part of something that was going on. And it was almost like no one could care less if you were there. And I'm going to tell you, that's never a good feeling. And usually that starts at the top. And the value is today, maybe that's what you've got to do. You've got to stop really quick and say, man, I've got to do some damage control. Because I got some people who are disfranchising themselves and are disconnecting themselves. And it's very important to start drawing people back in out of a pure heart of saying, God, help me to do this. Not only that, but we add value to others when we make ourselves more valuable. If we go around with a poor self-esteem and we feel like we're a nobody and then I'm going to tell you, it's a problem. If we're going to place value in people, they got to know we value who we are. I love what Albert Einstein said one time. He said, gentlemen, he said, try not to become men of success, but rather become men of value. And I thought, well stated. See, I pray that every one of us are developing a growth environment and a place where leaders are growing around us. I think it's important. It may go without saying that a growth environment, what it is. What is it? It's a place where others are ahead of you. It's a place where you're still feeling challenged. Is the place you're in a place you're still feeling challenged? It's a place you're forward in, or your focus is forward. Not everybody's looking back in the past, but they're looking forward. It is an atmosphere, and a growth atmosphere is a place where we're out of our comfort zones. We're being pressed and pushed to go a little higher. Not only that, but a growth environment is a place where we wake up excited. We can't wait to get there. And it's exciting when we begin to get that kind of synergy and energy going within an organization and a team. Not only that, but what I call this area of where we are an environment, a growth environment, is also where failure is handled correctly. There's going to be failure, but so many times failure is not dealt with and people are watching. I think that is important. Not only that, but we also understand others around us are growing. I don't know, but I get excited when I see other leaders that are growing. It builds. It makes me feel like I'm in a place of value. They value to give resources and to build up people so that they can grow. Not only that, there's a willingness to change. And that's a big one. Because sometimes people are like, I'm not going to be moved. And I love to be in an environment where people are saying, hey, let's try this. It may be out of the box, but I believe this is a God thing, And then growth is modeled and growth is expected. Let me just ask, is growth modeled and expected in your organization? One of the concerns I have many a times in some of the organizations that I am seeing is that we're afraid to raise the bar. Well, if we raise the bar, people may drop out, or there probably will be a couple people drop out, but they'd probably drop out anyway. I think it's important to have the bar at a place that is not only sustainable, but is something people can reach up towards. It's bringing them up higher. So I think it's important that we're investing in areas of affirming. Part of that's giving a book in their hand and telling them how much you appreciate them and say, hey, take time. Let's go into a season of growing together. And when you have this kind of environment, it adds value to everything. So you're adding value to yourself, but you're putting yourself in an environment of growth and, that's going to help stretch you and make you become all that God has ordained in your life. So I would ask, are you in that kind of environment today that you are growing and developing? This is important. There's two things to remember to enable personal growth in your team. And one of them is just remember it's a process. One of the people in the Bible that is always intrigued me, and I love the story, is the story of Joseph, a young man who early on had a dream, shared it with his brothers, his father, and of course they despised him. And it seemed like Joseph, he basically released something that should not have been released in that timing, but nevertheless, even in it all, that God was working it out. I've realized that God is not in the what I call the instant business. He's in the crockpot business. It's a process. Matter of fact, it's not somebody said Joseph had the dream of a lifetime. Well, that's true, but it was the dream that took a lifetime. I mean, so many times we receive something, but the one thing I realized about Joseph is something in all of our lives is Joseph had to mature. What do you mean he had to mature? Even though God gave him a dream, he wasn't ready for the dream. He wasn't ready for where God was to take him. So God had to begin to do a work in his life. Joseph needed to be tested and broken and resolve his own pride issues. And of course, Joseph decided, to share the dream that God had given him with his brothers. Ultimately, it was a move. It was costly on his own health. And ultimately, he was sold by his own brothers, and they faked his murder and brought his coat of many colors back to his father, where they had put the animal's blood on it. And a lot of us know the story well. And if you don't, go get acquainted with it. Go back to Genesis around the 40th through the 50th chapters there. And this story is so wonderful as it begins to unfold. But Joseph knew that his self-promotion can only be replaced by divine promotion. And Joseph evidently understood that true progress only occurs when God is behind it. Not only that, but Joseph determined to value difficult people and treat them as divine instruments. I don't know who I'm speaking to, and I wasn't planning on sharing this part, but when you are at a place of leadership and you're putting value in things and you begin to say, I want to go up higher, I really want to fulfill. And some of you may be in a place where you have had the vision and you have had the word and what this was to become, that you are birthing and working towards. And yet it seems like so many times you've run into some walls, but maybe you've just run into some difficult people. But yet Joseph had plenty of opportunities to become bitter, against people, his brothers, his slave traders, Potiphar's wife, even, the areas of those in prison. But what I realized in the essence, he viewed them as divine instruments. So many times there's been individuals who have been very difficult to deal with, and I've had my share of that over my life, just like you have. And I've learned that it's always important to, as they say, keep a short account, give forgiveness quickly. But I think it's important also to recognize that some of those people are used to push you in the place that God ultimately wants you to go. I know that's been a personal truth in my life, is though some things that I have not liked the way they happen or how they happen, but yet God was in control. And God was taking care of me because he knows more about my future than I do, just like he does yours. Not only that, but Joseph knew that God could never use him until he was truly tested and proven. And then ultimately Joseph could see his role and plan of God fulfilled in Egypt. In this whole area of process. Part of the process that you and I are in is understanding we have got to add value. We have got to add that value. So as I close this time out, we'll go to the next one and we'll continue where I'm leaving off But I just really am praying. If you maybe you've been at that place that you're in that process from where you started to where you are finishing or where you are entering into the greatest season, don't stop short. Stay through the process. Embrace the difficulties. Embrace even the difficult people. And be willing to affirm where you're at. But yet understand it's time. And you may need to stop, as I did in the last time. Stop and say, okay, what do I need to value right now? Maybe you just need to praise Him for the trial and value where you're at in life and even in ministry or in the marketplace. And realize that God has got something He's doing bigger. And maybe what He's doing bigger is inside you before He really reveals it on the outside of you. So I pray today, God bless you. May He allow the kingdom of God to continue to grow in you and grow around you. God bless and have a great day.